Wilson!
I'm so sorry.
Let's make this iconic.
I am recording now, just so you know. So
All right.
you want to get it started?
Welcome to Movie Talk with Noah, or Heat and Noah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And today, as you can clearly see, we have a guest on this episode. Please welcome our dear friend, Brandon.
Thank you. Such a warm welcome.
Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Oh,
You should be glad.
so obviously, if you know what movie we're talking about because you clicked on the video, but today we are talking about the 2007 Pixar classic Ratatouille, and I knew I wanted to do it with Brandon here. Of course, I was doing it with Heat. Love doing it with Heat, but Brandon here is a big Pixar guy, so I figured he might want to put in his 2 cents about this movie.
I already know what to say, but it's been a bit. I haven't seen it yet this year, so this is going to be a good refresher. I love this movie. Quite possibly my favorite.
Yeah, legit.
Let's just go ahead. So, what is this movie about? How would you describe this movie, Heed?
I would describe this movie as a rat who has a real passion for cooking and doesn't really know how to get that across, and he luckily teams up with the Linguini, who is a relative of Gusto, and those two team up together in a kitchen.
Yes. Brandon, who is this Gusto? Because we hear that name quite a bit in this movie. Who is Gusto?
Gusto is the best, not one of, but he is the guy, the best chef in all of France. Like, he has cookbooks, he has that 3.5-star restaurant that was once a 5. He is a legend. He is the legend.
He is the legend.
So with this movie, it obviously has a lot to do with cooking. Like, the movie mainly takes place in this restaurant, Gusto's, and it's fine. It's not just any restaurant, as Brandon kind of put it. It's like a fine dining. It was considered, maybe still is considered to be the best restaurant in France, but it's kind of fell on hard times. They lost a star after a bad review from what was his name?
Anton Ego.
Anton Ego.
And then that broke Gusto's heart, and he unfortunately passes away. We find out at the beginning of this movie. So, and I guess in tradition, that means you lose another Michelin star.
It does.
Okay. So yeah, they only have like a 3-star rating, and they used to be 5. So that can hurt sometimes. And
definitely loses the magic there.
Yeah, kind of.
So let's talk about our characters here. So we kind of talked about the story. We'll talk about the ending and certain things. But let's talk about our character. Let's talk about our main character, who is Remy, who is voiced by Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt, yeah.
I'm going to say perfect voice for this character. Absolutely perfect.
Absolutely. They could have chose anyone better.
Yeah, if I looked at that rat, I would think of that voice.
Yes, exactly. Sounds very rat-like. So, Remy as a character, I find him relatable. As somebody, anybody feels this way like he does, especially like somebody who lives in a small town. He lives at this old lady's house in the middle of nowhere, and he's just like, I want more, I don't want to eat garbage. I want to eat the good stuff. I don't want to be a rat. And his dad's like, being a rat's awesome. What are you talking about? We're rats. We do good.
Yeah, he's kind of misplaced in that society that he's
He
was born into.
He's definitely the outside.
How would you describe his family? He has a dad and he has a brother named Emile.
I would probably call his dad like the stereotypical bossy dad that doesn't really like to change the rats, and he doesn't see any reason to change that. And then his brother is kind of idiotic. just he isn't as clever as Remy, but he's forced to like keep Remy's secrets from the.
Like Remy says in the movie, he doesn't understand me, but I can be myself around him. So Emil's a good brother. And you mentioned like how his dad's just like very, oh, this is the world, we're staying that way. And that does kind of play into this movie's theme, like really deep. And that thing is the whole idea of class. I mean, think about rats.
Yeah.
I mean, rats are big. As humans, do we like rats?
No, we don't.
No.
We think as rats as pests, honestly.
Not only pests. What do we also think of rats, Brandon? We think they're
like a problem.
They're a problem, and they're also filthy.
Very filthy.
Very filthy.
But I like how the movie will demonstrate like how Remy doesn't like to be filthy. He likes to be more of a human. And that's like what's relatable to us. Like, okay, we're gonna feel for this character,
right?
So we understand.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of interesting. You know, I mean, he's a rat. He's literally the lowest, considered to be like the lowest of the low on like a food chain on everything.
Yeah.
But he creates these fine, amazing food, like this fine, amazing dishes. He has a palate like no one else.
He has.
So like people. And there's deep dive like essays on this movie, how it represents, you know, class, because anybody from anywhere can do anything great.
Yep.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
true.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta have the real mindset.
Exactly. Yep. You gotta have the drive, the mindset, the passion, all of that. And that goes into anything, but that especially goes into like culinary. And now that I'm thinking about it, there's someone here who has a little bit of experience with culinary.
This guy.
Yeah, go ahead, He. Take over with this aspect of this movie about the culinary.
So I have been trained in culinary arts. I went to culinary college, so I know kind of how it is to be in a kitchen. And I kind of enjoyed that aspect of this movie because it depicts it so well, like how the woman is treated, how she has to work so goddamn hard for like to get where she is, because it's like it's the rules were set by men and she has to fight those rules. And also the stress is pretty relatable because it is hella stressy being in a kitchen. And I think they captured that really well, of how stressful a fine dining restaurant really is, and how much you're eventually going to have to take in order to keep being in that type of work. And that's why I personally can relate to Linguini very much, because doesn't have any experience in cooking, and getting thrown into that high of a standard really challenges your mental health and psyche. And to top it all off, he has to team up with a rat, and rats are not welcome in a kitchen, not so ever. They're carrying in diseases, they're filthy, they're disgusting, and that is an interesting aspect to this movie, I feel like.
I like how you mentioned Linguini. Like, Alfredo Linguini is basically the second main character. He's the human. One reason I like him so much is just, again, relatability. At one point of our lives, we felt like Linguini.
Heck, I still do.
Yeah, we like, oh man, I keep messing up. I can't do anything right. I'm a screw up. I'm all this. I'm that. We've all felt like Linguini at one point in our life.
Oh yeah, for real, for real.
And then, like, I guess let's go into the story a little bit more. So, Remy goes to Gusteau's and gets caught there. He makes a soup that Linguini messes up and makes it fantastic, and then they expect Linguini to do it again, and Linguini's like, "Ah."
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
so they have to figure out how him and Remy, and then oh man, the way that they figure out what to do. What is it, Brandon? How do they figure out how Remy's supposed to cook but make it look like it was Linguini? How does he do that?
Basically, they discovered this by accident. It was just like Remy was on top of Linguini's hair at one point, and then he started like basically like manipulating him like a puppet, and basically like pulling two strands of like big strands of hair, not like little strands, but like big ones, just tossing him up in the air, and it would just control his whole entire movement. And basically, he was just he had a like an in rat perspective of how a human works in the kitchen throughout the halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
Right. I gotta ask. I remember when when this movie came out. I said 2007. When I was a kid, I remember me and some other kid at school. We actually tried it. We pulled on each other's hair to see if we could actually control someone's movement by hair. And let me tell you, it didn't work very well.
I bet you it just hurt.
Yeah.
I have a confession to make, because I actually got like a tiny chef under my hat right now.
What?
Like,
Good damn.
I know. I've been manipulated this whole time, and y'all believed me.
Oh yeah, I believed you. I believed you so much.
So that's how you did Stevie Showdown, huh?
That's how I did it. Like,
That's
no
how,
strings attached.
That's how it's done. Link in the description.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, continuing, so they have success, and then we also find out a big thing about Linguini. Because it turns out his mom, she was a bit of a bimbo.
She had a little thing with one specific person.
Yeah.
Which would
Might have
catapult Linguini high up in the hierarchy. Really, really high up.
Exactly. It turns out Linguini is Gusto's son.
Dun, dun,
Oh my
dun.
god.
Like, legit.
Like,
And
I
like,
remember as a kid, like, I mean, a 7-year-old watching this would be like shocked. Like, I 7 years old, you don't really know what twists or, things like that are typically, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
That's my face.
Like, Pixar's like not known for making like the best of twists, but like that twist was really good. Like,
yeah, that was the first, big twist of, but I don't know, maybe Stinky Pete.
Mhm.
I mean, you could kind of, and then like Monsters Inc., you definitely knew that Waternoose was going to be a bad guy. I'm sorry.
right.
Can't make it too obvious.
Right, but yeah, Ratatouille. I mean, like, anyway, I mean, it's kind of a twist, but it's just like, oh wow, well, that makes it interesting. And then who finds it out? It's the bad guy of this, the villain of this movie, Skinner, Chef Skinner,
Mm-hmm.
who was
Yeah,
Gusto's
Chef Skinner.
new chef. So, what do we think about Skinner?
Like it's funny because like I was gonna bring him up as the villain of the story, because like like up to that letter point, I actually didn't think he was a bad guy. Like, he wasn't the villain in my eyes of the story, because if you really think about it, how would we react if there was a rat in our kitchen? Like,
Right.
he has our initial reactions. Like, he owns the restaurant, and like he thinks that Linguini tampered with the soup, so it'll like drive angry customers. Like, it's all understandable, like all justifiable.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's up to when he opens that letter and he finds out that Linguini is the alleged son of Gusteau, and he hides it from everybody.
Tells his lawyer, though.
Yeah, like that's where the villain really comes out. We're like, okay, now this is personal.
Right.
Legit.
So he, as the chef here out of the three of us, I mean, Skinner kind of represents like a very stereotypical head chef. He's angry, yells a lot, is serious. So, what are your experiences with like head chefs like that?
I have some experience with it, and it's really like they are stressed, of course, because there's so much going on. They have to think about multiple times, and during service, it's really important that you keep it together and don't mess up, because if you mess up, you mess up for him, and that proceeds to be a bad reputation for him. And if he yells at you, then you're just gonna have to take it and keep and realize that you probably did something that you probably shouldn't have done. And yeah, people have yelled at me multiple times, and I have taken it because both of you are stressed. That's just a fact. If you're gonna feed like 60 people, that's a lot of food. And different food, different steak temperatures, different special orders. You gotta really like keep it together in order to keep the band going, you know, like the food coming out. And the finer the restaurant, the harder it is, because you gotta really keep the quality good.
That's fair. So thank you for that. So I wanted to talk about so Skinner as a villain. Out of all the Pixar villains we've seen, where do we put him? Because I almost feel like whenever people talk about Pixar villains, he's usually not brought up that much.
Yeah, because maybe because I don't view him that much as a villain, more like a head chef. Because I believe he acts the way a normal chef would act. And I don't think if that many people are familiar with that kind of behavior, they might view it as villainous, but it's really not. It's just how they are forced to act during those circumstances.
But didn't he kidnap Remy towards the end to make him make the frozen foods that he was going to make at Gusteau's, but they got canceled?
Brandon, take over.
Yeah, I kind of forgot like what the main purpose for him for taking Remy at the end was. Like, was he going to exploit him to like be his own chef or whatever for his own franchise? Like, that makes sense. Like, that's a good motive, because like, I mean, at that point, it's like, what does Remy want to do? I mean, he is a rat after all. It's like, I wonder how he would like enslave Remy to like actually like do his biddings in the kitchen or whatnot.
Well, because it's interesting, because I did, obviously you do research. A lot of the, especially the chefs, a lot of them are actually loosely based off real chefs. Like Colette is based off a certain chef. Ego is based off like a famous actor from Britain, I think. Like the story of just like Gusteau in general is actually loosely based off a chef you might have heard of, Mr. Chef Boyardee.
Yeah,
might have.
So I mean, I know you're in Sweden. Do you guys have Chef Boyardee, like the cans of pasta?
Nope.
No. So in America, like a very famous brand is called Chef Boyardee, and it has like a picture of him. He's got like a big chef hat on, and he's got like a white mustache, and branded. It's canned pasta, like raviolis and stuff like that. But like he was like a full like fine dining like Michelin star chef, but he started making the processed stuff, and he kind of fell downwards. At least in the culinary world. I mean, he made a lot of money doing it.
If you remember, like Anti-Ego, he does make like a subtle reference to Chef Boyardee as like a review of like resembling it to Gusteau's, which that is exactly the reference.
Right,
that
exactly.
he's born with.
So, and then like I said, there's a lot of characters, and so let's get to the ending. So like they're found out. Remy and Linguini are found out when Linguini, becomes the owner, and Ego comes to dinner, and all the staff quit when they find out that Linguini was basically a fraud, and then the rats come in to help Remy make the food for the restaurant, which I know they clean themselves, but still.
It's kind of
gross. Still a little gross. I know they wash themselves, but yeah, still a little gross. But anyway, and then Colette she leaves, but then she sees the cookbook. Because what's the one motto we hear through this movie all the time? What was Gusteau's motto?
Anyone can cook.
Anyone can cook. And she sees it and she's just like, anyone can cook, even a rat. So she goes there, and so here's probably one of the more famous food scenes of this movie.
Oh yeah.
What does Remy want to make?
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille, namesake. Which is like, so here's an interesting thing I've learned. So like, what they made in the movie technically isn't Ratatouille.
Mm.
So I mean, it's like a fancy version of it, but it's technically not called Ratatouille. Ratatouille is more of like I think it's more like remember the flashback that Ego had? Remember that he was eating?
Yeah.
That's more traditional Ratatouille. It's more of a stew than anything.
Yeah, because like I remember going to Walmart in the frozen section and seeing like what it really looks like, and when I look back at it's just like really polished, really well put together for the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's it's like, what would be a good American equivalent? I don't know, like chicken tenders. We can get a nice, cheap chicken tenders at Walmart, but fine dining could make fancy fried chicken tenders, but they're probably not just going to call them chicken tendies, are they? Not going to get tendies on the menu with some nuggies. No,
tendies on nuggies.
And then, so going back to the movie, Ego tries the food. He loves it. Finds out it was Remy who did it. Writes a review. Gave it a good review. But what happens?
The restaurant closes down.
The restaurant closed because they got rats.
Rats.
I kind of like that. They kind of went more realistic with the story, which I appreciate.
Oh yeah, legit.
But hey, it kind of ends up on a good note, though. They ended up opening a new restaurant.
Yeah, Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
Very good. And then Ego becomes an important character by being their investor in their business.
Which, hey, that can make him even more money, maybe, as a critic.
Yeah, that's true.
I like his review from at the end of the movie where he talks about how to a lot of people, reviewing's the easiest job in the world. You're judging other people's work. That could be a food reviewer, movie critic. That could be anybody.
That can.
Of course, it's not that easy, and he kind of talks about it. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it seems like it's not.
Legit.
And there's reviewers like him that go more in depth in ways you haven't looked at the message behind a specific review before, where the message of the story was anyone can cook, but he realized Gusteau didn't mean it like anyone can cook, but where anyone from anywhere can.
Exactly. Not to say that, you could, like an Oprah, you could cook. You could cook. Everybody could cook.
This guy can cook.
Yeah, even Wilson can cook. Anybody can cook. All right, so, and the movie ends. So all around, what are our thoughts on Ratatouille?
One of the better animated movies out there, for real.
So he's not much an animation fan like me and Brandon, but he can appreciate a good one when he sees it.
Yeah, and this is a good one. This is a very good one. Because I'm Maybe because I'm into cooking a whole lot, and having a Pixar movie based around that might have influenced my liking of it.
And that's an interesting thing too. A lot of people from the culinary world praised this movie.
Yeah,
Anthony Bourdain, all sorts of different chefs praised it.
yeah, because it's a fair depiction of how it looks in the kitchen.
And so when we were going to do this movie today, it made me think of this. What if Pixar didn't make this movie? What if it was like DreamWorks? Something like, or no, even better. What if it was Illumination made in like 2014, 2013?
Oh.
I just thought like, so Gordon Ramsay would have at least a 5-minute cameo. The movie would probably take place in Vegas or something.
So you're talking like they would probably change the whole story in general,
Or they might
not
stay
just
in
like
Paris,
the
but,
design art.
Yeah.
there would definitely be some more celebrity voices because there's some good voices in this movie. We mentioned Patton Oswalt, Brad Garrett voices Gusteau, which just goes to show Brad Garrett will never voice anything that's not a large human or a large thing.
Yeah.
I believe Janine Garofalo voices Colette.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Which
her.
I'm gonna
There's
say,
another-
just so everyone else doesn't have to say it. Colette is.
I was about to say I love that character. Chef's kiss.
very good.
I'm gonna look at it.
Like you remember that one chef that like has done like a bunch of illegal things, like tours a hole in the ozone layer, robbed the national bank.
Or
Like he's like his voice actor is like the voice actor for Lego Batman.
Will
I believe it.
Arnett. Yeah, you're right. That is Will Arnett.
Love that character.
Yes.
Let's see.
I do that with this gum.
Oh,
What do you think he really did to get serve time?
man. For all we know, he was probably the cook in prison. Like, that's where his passion first began.
Probably.
Probably.
It's just, I don't know. I feel like today, it's just like, if that movie was made, even Pixar today, I feel like they'd have at least more, like, chef cameos. Like, I'm telling you, Gordon Ramsay would definitely have a cameo in it. I'm telling you.
Gordon Ramsay would
Yeah,
have.
I love me some Gordon Ramsay, but
if DreamWorks owned this film, they probably would have snuck him in there. And if Illumination did this film, God forbid, I mean, there would be a lot of pointless shots of like,
it'd be him, Jamie Oliver, Guy Fieri, freaking.
Julia
They probably
Child.
like Julia Child just to bring her back.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, legit.
So where would you rank Ratatouille? At least, since you're a Pixar guy, where would you rank this for Pixar movies for you?
I would say there's not any film that has ever been close to number one. For me, Ratatouille is the best Pixar film, in my opinion, and it's never changed. Like I would say from 2 to 5 it differs, but like Ratatouille is the clear, definite number one film. It'll never be beat.
I have Ratatouille at number 2. There.
Pixar?
Yeah, Pixar. Yeah, there is one movie I enjoy more, and that.
See, honestly, I'll admit right now, like my favorite Pixar movie of all time will always be Toy Story. So Toy Story will probably be number one. The first Toy Story will always be number one for me. But Ratatouille would probably be a very close second, and then like Incredibles. So let's try to figure out what Eads is, Brandon. Let's see. Was it before or after Ratatouille?
Before.
Before. Was it Incredibles?
Nope.
Not Toy Story either.
Nope.
Finding Nemo?
That is correct.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a cool, definitely a beautiful movie.
Yeah,
Finding Nemo's like.
I like that movie a lot.
Enemy.
Anime noni.
Oh no, I'm gonna go touch the butt.
Do
Okay, so hold every Pixar movie that I think most he might have missed one or two. Every Pixar movie has John Ratzenberger in it.
Yep.
The actor John Ratzenberger. I want you guys to guess, who did John Ratzenberger voice in this movie?
I already know. Yeah, I already know.
I don't know. I guess I can guess. Is it Emil?
It's not a male. He's not a main. He's not like a main character. He does have a few lines, but he's not a main character.
He was the waiter.
He was the waiter. He was the big waiter. I told him to ask.
I told him to ask.
Yeah, John Ratzenberger has, I think, maybe not all of them, but like almost most of them. He's voiced at least one character.
Yeah.
He was the waiter.
Like he was Ham in Toy Story. He was the Abominable Snowman in Monsters Inc.
He was the Underminer in Incredibles. He was a School of Fish in Finding Nemo.
Yep, that's a good one. Yeah, he was in a lot of movies.
A lot of movies.
So anything else we want to bring up about Ratatouille?
Other than the fact that Colette is a bad motherfucker, I feel like everything has been said. I love her character so much.
So I did want to bring up this for shits and giggles. So I don't know if they do as much today, but back in the day, especially early 2000s to 2010s, there were a lot of these small, usually foreign companies that would make rip-off movies of especially like Disney, Pixar, Disney movies and Pixar.
I remember.
And there is one for Ratatouille.
Really?
Either of you ever heard of Ratatouille?
What the hell?
Damn.
Nah.
I've heard about it, and
it is. Oh my gosh! Take the base, like literally, take the basics from Ratatouille about a rat that cooks, and they made these. And like I don't remember. I used to remember the company that made it. I think it's called Video Bronquedo. It's like based in Brazil.
That one.
They make these awfully animated 3D movies. And literally, like, they probably just saw the trailer or saw the poster and then, Ratatouille. And yeah, there's a lot, especially for Pixar, there's a lot of, like, rip-off movies, but Ratatouille.
Like I was gonna say, like the most, like the one I like always think of most when you say the rip-offs is this one rip-off from Finding Nemo called Finding Jesus.
Yep. I'm telling like that. Even like that one compared, like Ratatouille compared to that one is like, it's rough.
What?
It's just like with a lot of those really low budget, especially 3D animated movies, the lips never match what they're trying to say.
Yeah. It's like you're watching like a YouTube Kids video.
Literally.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
So I'm glad I brought that up. And then like I think Ratatouille also is like, it's a very popular movie, but we don't necessarily see a lot of like merch compared to like a lot of other Disney, especially Disney Pixar movies.
Yeah.
And that just might be maybe just like the whole movie of Ratatouille is not as like merchandisable as compared to something like Cars or Toy Story, where they're literally cars and toys.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just a chef's
jacket. Like when I found this like Remy like hat thing, like I was at Disney. And it was just like randomly sitting on a shelf, and like I turned it upside down, and it had a price tag on it. But like the whole shop had nothing to do with Ratatouille. It was just randomly on the shelf.
Gotta love it.
I saw cookbook before too.
Before we end it with anything, or unless you guys want to bring up anything else, how would you propose a Ratatouille sequel, if you would at all? Put a brain together a little bit. Where would you even begin to propose a Ratatouille sequel, whether it's a movie or like what they're doing on Disney Plus with like some certain shows. Make it a movie, or would you make it a series?
A movie.
Movie, okay.
I would make it a movie. Disney Pixar might want to hire me for this one. Okay, I got an idea.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Hear me out. But I don't have alcohol on me, so I can't act like I'm drunk while saying this shit. But what if Remy and Linguini go to an international food competition and eventually, like, the whole world figures out that Remy can cook, right?
Okay. So
And
he's
there could be
over
like
for being a cooking rat.
like a whole story like behind it and everything. Like I would like to see like a cooking competition they could go to.
Mm-hmm.
It would be so cool. It would be so cool.
I feel like that's the most logical way to go with it.
Right.
Because there's no way you're gonna recreate that original film or like do the same shit all over again. So I feel like that is what you would want to do. Like you could start off the movie with like at the restaurant, so we know where they're at in their lives, and then they get presented this opportunity, and it goes to what you were saying about the competition. I feel like that would
And like
be...
maybe there are other rats like Remy that also can cook. You never know.
Oh, what if they're not just rats? What if they're other animals too?
What if there are other animals? Then they can expand the franchise and turn into whatever they want. Yeah.
How would a horse control a human? That's what I want to know. Just jump
Everybody
on the back
fine.
like...
It's like a freaking bear just hops on someone's head. Just
Are Linguini and Colette still together? And do they have a kid?
Well, I would think so.
Yeah, they probably have had it a little rough in the bed. And a little kid
I have a
popped
good meme for
out.
that one. I have a good meme for that one. It's
Oh,
somewhere.
Before we get into
It's like,
certain areas,
damn, where did you learn to?
so let's do what we usually do. Let's rate Ratatouille on a scale of 1 to 10, Brandon. That's what we usually do at the end of these videos. We rate them on a scale of 10. Where would you put Ratatouille?
It's 11. Like, there is no scale for it. It goes above. It goes 11, 12, whatever. It's infinite. The score is infinite.
Okay. 8.
I would probably give it like a 7 out of 10. And that's good for being animated. You gotta really charm me when it comes to animation. And 7 out of 10 should be good. Because it's ranked next to like The Godfather, Scarface, Goodfellas, Oppenheimer, Hostel, Saw.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, so a 7 is pretty generous from me.
So I'm not going to give it an 11 out of 10, but I will give it a 9.
9.
I believe that's the highest ranking I've ever given. I don't remember what I gave.
Once upon a
time would, but
I think you gave it like an 8. You gave it an 8.
Okay, I'm giving Chewie a 9.
You think that is a
Y'all
better
watched
movie?
the first John Wick?
What?
Y'all watched the first John Wick, or?
Both.
We watched John Wick 1 and 2, and we watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
So this is the fourth one, but...
This is the 4th movie we've watched, but this is their 3rd episode.
3rd episode, 4th movie.
Yep.
Nice.
And on that note, we would like to thank you, Brandon, for joining us in this on this episode.
Thank you. It was
movie
awesome to
talk.
be here.
Glad to have you, Brandon. We loved having you.
And
Let me know if there's anything else you need.
yeah,
Yes.
obviously, brother.
Yeah, we'll stop telling you what movies we're going to do next, because we never do the movies that we're supposed to do next. So we're going to just stop doing that.
And that's why I'm going to tell you that the next movie is going to be RoboCop, the Peter Weller movie from 1987.
Yes.
Nice.
All right. It should be RoboCop. But
RoboCop.
Don't be.
Yeah, RoboCop, Peter Weller, 1987. Next movie out whenever,
Yep, we'll do it soon too.
sooner than you think.
Ooh.
Yes.
Right
All
after
right.
this recording.
Till next time, movie fans.
Bye.
Bye bye.